You probably didn't know that the Sac County Fair already started. Last night, that's just what happened at the Harold Peyton farm 4 miles east of Sac City, Iowa. There were 3 contestants in the Sac County Fair's Pen of 3 beef judging contest. And even though they didn't have to wait until next week, it was still serious business.
It's a Pen of 3 feeding competition. It's basically a mini cattle feeding program for our youth. They weigh in calves around 1st of January. The cattle are fed just like in a feedlot situation. They keep records. The cattle are judged at this time of year based on their performance, based on their carcass qualities. The cattle will go from here, from Harold Payne's place, directly to slaughter. They'll be harvested in the morning, and we'll get actual carcass data on them. So it's very much real life. It's just like their dads are feeding cattle out in feedlots.
Oh, we fed them corn.
The 3 phases of the competition were the weigh-in, the judges' interview with the contestants, and the final determination of which Pen of 3 was superior to the others. Judge Dennis DeWitt, a 33-year veteran of the Iowa State Extension as a livestock field specialist, explains what he looks for when judging beef.
The highest correlation to profitability in feeding cattle is buy-sell margin. In other words, the buying price of the feeders and the selling price. The next value that's very important in feeding cattle is feed efficiency on it. In other words, how many pounds of feed does it take to put on a pound of gain at what cost? Well, average daily gain is very important in decision, because that is not a subjective measurement, that's an objective measurement where they're weighed divided by days, so you have an objective measurement. And then after that, I look at market weight. Are they of a suitable market weight? Quality grade, also very important. In other words, what will they be, prime, choice, or select? And that's a determination made looking at the marbling and the ribeye. When they're in the cooler plant at Denison, federal grader will make that decision of the quality grade. I, looking at them live, can do nothing but use experience and my ability to eyeball cattle, and I'm probably 50% right and 50% wrong, like most judges, on determining that on the live eyeball, because you take the hide off of these animals, that's when you're looking at the meat, and it's hard to, you're trying to guess how much marbling there is in the ribeye area, and that's a difficult live task. And the final decision on a Pen of 3 group is uniformity. In other words, I'd like them as uniform as possible, and had real problems with some of these cattle because there was 300 to 400 pounds difference in weight within a Pen of 3. Causes the judge to consider uniformity very seriously. So those are the criteria I'd look at in evaluating the cattle.
Before rendering his verdict, DeWitt encouraged those in attendance to take a stab at judging the cattle for themselves.
I think you need to, everybody kind of go look at them, look at the animals, look at the data, look at the animals, scratch your anatomy.
Too hot.
Think about scratching your anatomy. but it's...
And he had the guts saying, that's what I'm getting the big bucks to decide. Nobody else is getting paid to be here that
day. Nobody's going to look at them and rank them yourself. No, come on, it's a judging contest. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you've got.
Well, you know we're in order right now.
One animal, then you look at the animals, not just the data. They all 3 have 4 legs. They're still all breathing.
That's good.
Everybody done?
DeWitt talked about Lexi Schmidt's pen first. Lexi had 2 separate pens of cattle.
This particular pen, Pen 2, there's one that's really narrow muscled, not the narrowest one here. There's one that's really got an extremely wide front end to it that bothers me, but probably gains 5 pounds a day, okay, so that's irrelevant, don't know that. And one steer that I really, really like, okay? So I have that to look at. Lexi's pen number 1, two of the best steers are in this pen that are here, and the worst steer of the 4 pens is here, all in the same pen. But even though it's 300 pounds lighter, the calf, according to Lexi, is alive today and at least will generate an income. Gross dollars, okay? But it's 300 pounds in that range lighter than the other two. Two exceptionally good steers in this pen, but one, and you can see it right here, okay? But it's alive, breathing, and will generate income.
Next up was Allison Colby's pen of beef.
Allison Colby's, 3 black white faces. I don't have their individual weights on them, but there is some variation, but not a lot. My real problem with this one is they're all 3 too light. I'd love to see 100 pounds on those 3. Because there's enough frame, they're lean enough to do it. About 3.5 pounds of gain, but they're very uniform, very lean. Not real sure. They were on corn silage, and wet distiller's grain. And I think all the cattle were implanted, and which is good. But very uniform pen of 3.
Last but not least was Ben Colby's pen.
This pen, Ben Colby's corn and wet distiller's grain. Low 500s, 1230, weighing in here, 3.7 daily gain. But my problem I have with these 3 is they don't show me a lot of muscle expression. Okay, they're pretty narrow for weighing 1,250 pounds. The one steer, exceptionally the one with a notch steer 288, is really a narrow steer. That's, all 3 are probably great choice, but that'll be on the low end. And another one, I love the daily gain on this pen of 3, because I know how the system works. I know what second correlation to profitability besides purchase price, average daily gain, highly correlated to profitability potential.
Lexi Schmidt's number 1 pen received 4th place, and her number 2 pen received 3rd. Ben Colby's cattle pulled in at 2nd place, and Allison Colby took 1st in the Sac County Fair Pen of 3 Beef Judging Contest.